Hello, my name's Ian Carter. I'm an English language consultant here in Yangon, Myanmar. I'm also an IELTS examiner, and I'd like to tell you something about the IELTS test. IELTS, as you know, stands for the International English Language Testing System, and it's an examination which is becoming more and more popular every month, not only in Yangon but also all over the world. Many people want to take the IELTS test. Well, maybe I should say they don't want to take the test, but they have to take the test because it's a condition set down in many English-speaking countries for people who wish to pursue further studies in such countries as the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, and more it's becoming accepted in the United States. Not just for people who want to go for further study, but also for people who wish to emigrate and live in another country or just work in another country for a period of time. It's also appropriate for people who haven't finished their secondary school education and would like to do that in an English-speaking country. But really the test is not recommended for people below the age of about 16. Partly because people at that age don't have very much world experience, and it would be very difficult for them to write and speak convincingly on the kind of topics that are presented in the IELTS exam. So what does the IELTS test consist of? Well, it breaks down into 4 components. It covers the 4 skills of listening, reading, writing and speaking in that order. But it depends whether you're doing the academic module or the general training module. The academic module is for people who want to go for further study, and the general training is for people who want to emigrate or take up job opportunities in an English-speaking country. If you're doing the academic module, you start with a listening test, and then you'll do the academic reading test, and that will be followed by an academic writing test, and then finally there'll be a speaking test. If you're doing general training, it will be the same listening test as for the academic module, but the reading will be different, the writing will be general training writing, and the speaking test will be exactly the same as the speaking test for academic candidates. How is the IELTS test scored? Well, the IELTS score is reported as a band score, and it ranges from band 0, which means that you didn't show up for the exam, or you didn't write anything, or you didn't say anything. Not many people get band 0. And it goes all the way up to band 9 at the top, which is an expert user. Now that does not mean that a band 9 candidate is identical to a native speaker. What it really means is that a band 9 candidate is as good as it's possible to get for a non-native speaker, a second language speaker of English. It's important to remember that. Your target is not to emulate a native speaker. Your target is to be as good as it's possible to be. That's a much more realistic target. And each of the 4 skills, the listening, the reading, the writing and the speaking, has its own band score. And then these are averaged to give a global band score at the end, and these are shown on your certificate, which you will receive about 2 weeks after you finish the whole test.